Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH, and I'm back for another iOS accessible game video. Been a while since I've done one of these, but I actually just happened to stumble upon one that is pretty unique, actually. I came across it a couple days ago as I'm recording this, probably 3 days ago or so now. It is called Lifeline, and I'll talk about it here shortly. So let's get up. I'm running Windows 10 here, and we are going to use our Reflector app, and we are going to do AirPlay.
Apple TV selected. Apple TV Highlander with AirPlay Apple TV Highlander video.
All right, we're going to do that.
Highlander selected. Highlander video mirroring.
Mirroring.
Off. On.
All right, and we have phone. Now, I have not actually I've never even used this version of Reflector before. I have not used this under Windows 10 before, so this is totally new, and we're going to see how this works. Kind of neat how they actually chose to do the, you have the wallpaper, but then you get rid of all like the Windows interface, so that's kind of cool. That works. So we are going to, this is probably going to be a short video because there's not a whole lot I can do as far as playing the game. It really, without spoiling it, so Lifeline
Double tap to open.
is a game. I don't know if I really want to call it it's not a text adventure. It's sort of like a choose your own adventure. Like the choice of games or something like that. But I really like the concept of how it plays. So I will go into it here in just a second. But what happens is you launch the game, and it is presented in this just really simple, like almost like an instant messenger, texting or chat like interface, where apparently there's this lady that has crash landed on a planet with her spaceship and crew. After the crash, she is trying to radio out for help, but you are the only one that she can reach. And so she kind of tells you what's going on there, and then based on what she does, or based on what she tells you, and she'll ask you for advice, and then you kind of choose, well, what do you think she should do? And there are also a couple times it's kind of neat where she'll describe something, and then before she asks your feedback, she's like, hey, can you research this for me to tell me if this is going to be safe or not or whatever? So believe it or not, I actually did go to the internet, and I ended up found something on Wikipedia. She was asking about, a minor spoiler here, but she was asking about there was a part of the ship that she was at, and she was wondering, well, if I sleep, fairly close to it to try to stay warm overnight here, is it too, am I going to be exposed to too much radiation? Like, was it 100 or 150 rads or something? Is that too much? So I was like, I have no idea. So I actually went online and looked it up. It was kind of neat. The other thing with this is she'll start talking to you. You'll give her a little bit of feedback, and a lot of times she'll have to go off and do something. Now, it's not like, oh, okay, she just done something, here's the result. This plays out in real time. So if she is going to go to sleep for the night, you probably won't hear from her until the morning, or you probably won't hear from her for, whatever period of time they tell. If she's going to be walking from one location to another, it might take her a few minutes. If she's going to grab a bite to eat or try to, bash open a door, whatever, that's all going to take time. So it's kind of one of those things where you can set it, you play it for a few minutes, and then you get a notification, and then you can just kind of come back to it, maybe read a few entries for a minute or two, and then get some interesting story, make a decision or two, and then come back or just put it down and wait for a while again. So it's really kind of neat how this plays out. So I'm going to open this.
tap to open.
Okay.
Lifeline, incoming communication.
Now, one thing is this is accessible with VoiceOver. However, one thing that kind of bothers me is, and I'm probably going to write to the developer just to see if he can put a tweak in there, because I mean, out of the box, I originally heard about this game on a podcast, and the way they described it, it's like, hey, this sounds really simple. It sounds really textual or text heavy. I bet you this could be played, if it's not made already, it could be made pretty accessible. So I went and checked it out, and lo and behold, it is. What I was saying was that the one thing that's kind of obnoxious is when you enter the app, you come back to it. Not such a big deal right away, but if you've played it for a while and you just got this huge, really long chat log, VoiceOver always wants to seem to put focus at the very top, the very beginning of the game. So you have to scroll down, 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 down until you get to the very end, which is kind of obnoxious. I mean, it's nice if you want to review the situation and review the progress, but it can get a little old, and it's like, can you just put me at least maybe, you know, like I said, I'm going to write to the developer and ask, you know, maybe could there be, for VoiceOver, can you kind of detect that maybe, and then have it a mark where when you make a decision, it'll kind of make that as, I don't know, like a bookmark or some kind of a thing where you open the app and go, oh, okay, VoiceOver, let's start at the last decision that you made, and then you can pick up the story from then on. You can then scroll up or down from there. So I will start at the top of the game just so you can kind of hear. So it starts out,
Incoming communication.
and the voiceover is just, I have the mic really close to my phone. Let me crank it up a little bit louder just so you can try to hear it as best as we can. So,
Incoming communication.
incoming communication.
Establishing connection. Receiving message. Hello? Is this thing working?
And all I'm doing is flicking to the right.
Can anyone read me?
Now, it does show me my previous choices.
Who is this? Button. I read you. Button.
And it does show visually. That's another thing they could do is if you're reviewing, color-wise, it will show you which one you selected, but maybe VoiceOver could indicate that as you're reviewing past progress. That's another thing that they could improve. But again, not a super big deal, but would be very helpful in a way. Let's keep going.
Oh, thank God. It's so good to have human contact. It's been hours. Who are you? Button. What happened? Button.
So I can choose who are you or what happened. So it's like, how do you want to approach this character?
Right.
I said,
right.
who
So
are
what
you?
happened? Right. Sorry. Should have started with that. I was just excited to get a response to my signal. My name's Taylor. I was an astronaut on board the starship Varia.
That's right, her name is Taylor.
The Varia? Button.
So I could ask about the Varia, the ship. I didn't.
What happened? Button.
Or as I said, what happened?
Our ship crashed on some moon. I have no idea where.
Okay, she crashed on a moon, not a planet. My apologies.
I managed to get to an escape pod, but I couldn't tell if anyone else made it into one.
Okay.
My IESU sensor tells me that the air here is breathable, at least, so that's nothing short of a miracle. But I've got no food or water rations on me. The toolkit on the pod is about as basic as they come. I managed to get the pod's mobile transmitter working, but, lucky you seem to be the only one in range of the signal. Whoever and wherever you might be. Let's see, my ship just crashed in the middle of nowhere.
What?
Whoever and wherever you might be. Are you alright? Button. Where are you? Button.
Okay, where are you all right, or where are you? So I said, are you all right?
Let's see, my ship just crashed in the middle of nowhere.
I love her sarcasm.
No one is hailing on this frequency, and I don't see any survivors other than me. Ellipsis. The least prepared person in existence for this sort of emergency. But I got out of that whole mess with nothing more than a stubbed toe, so things are looking just peachy. Thanks for asking. Huh. Yeah, well,
No.
sorry about the toe. Smartass. Button.
That was the one I chose because I just said, yeah, I gotta be the smart-ass button.
Least prepared. Button.
I could say at least I could do the least prepared reaction or
Sorry about the toe.
sorry about
Smartass.
the toe. Have as my smart-ass response. Had to do that.
Huh. Yeah, well, I've been told I use sarcasm as a weapon, and right now, I'm not armed with anything else.
Sounds fair.
So let's hope that if there's any sort of little green men waiting to jump out and attack me, ellipsis, they're vulnerable to ironic comments and eye rolling.
Good little humor there. A little good character development. I like that.
Anyway, why don't I tell you what I can see from here? Maybe you can advise me on where to go. Alright, so, my escape pod came down in some kind of desert. The ground is all cracked white rock. There's a huge white peak a few miles away. Or, kilometers, I guess. They tried to get me to think metric for the trip, but some things are just hardwired. It's weirdly symmetrical, like it might not be a natural formation. My IEVA suit's compass places the peak northeast, and then, in the opposite direction, south and southwest, to be precise. Ellipsis are two funnels of black smoke from what I have to assume are two pieces of the Varia. Best case scenario, it's only in two pieces. The crash sites look closer than the peak. What do you think I should do?
Okay, so I can make this is where I made another decision. Now I'm not going to go through the whole thing up to where I'm at right now. The other thing I will say is I have no idea how long this game is. I mean, especially since it's just primarily text, it could be very, very long. And I don't know if there are like truly like branching paths, or I'm guessing there are later on. From what I a little bit have heard, it sounds like things can go horribly wrong, or might be able to take different turns. So I'm not super far in yet, but it's gotten to be some kind of interesting stuff here. So
Check the crash button. Head for the peak button.
So I said, check the crash, because I figured, well, crash site, she's stranded. Maybe she could find some crew members. She could find some supplies from the ship. So, if she's marooned there, she can kind of, get back on her feet a little bit. And there, so I'm going to scroll down a lot.
Rose 92 to 99 of 249.
See now, there's 249 rows already.
Rose 164 to 100.
Let's keep going. And I'll show you where I left off on the game here.
Rose 242 to 249 of 249.
Alright, so we're going to back up just a tad here. Now,
off I go. Taylor is busy. Anyway, off I go.
Okay, so she was, let's see, let's go back to my previous decision. Now, some of this might not make as much sense. I don't remember what it said, but I'll start from my last decision. So, like I said earlier in the video, what would be kind of nice is if they had, VoiceOver could just say, oh, okay, here's your last decision. When I open the app again, let's start there. So,
back out of the canyon and try another. What do you reckon? Ellipsis. Should I look for some quick way around it?
Okay, right. So she was trying to go back to her pod, and the escape pod, but there was a rock blocking the way.
Back out of the canyon and try
should I go back? Should I try to get around the thing, or should I double back? And I said, let's double back for now. Because you already know that your pod is over there. You didn't really have much in supplies or whatever there anyway. So, let's see.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the right call. That whole boulder situation looked like a death trap waiting to be sprung.
So this is her response from there. Pretty soon we're going to get to some text that I haven't heard yet because she was busy. So
there's a gentle slope up the canyon wall, a few hundred yards back. No, I can't rattle that off in metric. A hectobunch, a picofoot load.
Okay.
I hate to lose time from doubling back. Ellipsis, but it's preferable to the whole breaking a leg 5,000 picofoot loads from the nearest hospital scenario. Anyway, off I go. So
I did this earlier this afternoon. Now the next entry it's going to say,
Taylor is busy.
Taylor is busy. So you're going to get those notifications. Like I said, it's almost like a chat log, when you see that in like a chat program. So this is where you put the game down. Eventually you'll get a notification through your notification center, and you can pick it up when it comes back. So up to here, I've played. When I swipe to the right, I have never heard this before, so let's see what she found. She started to double back, and...
So, ellipsis, I'm having one of those dilemmas that only people stranded on a moon can have. Bear with me here.
Okay.
I'm standing at the lip of a huge crater. I mean, huge.
Okay.
As in, like, if I weren't terrified of dying alone in deep space at any given second, I'd take a moment to be really, really odd.
Okay.
Problem is, this marvel of geography is smack dab in the middle of where I'm headed. So, ellipsis, it's either a slog around the perimeter, making a big semicircle in one direction, or the other, ellipsis, or else I try my luck easing down the side and then cut straight across.
Okay.
There's certainly something to be said for the shortest distance between 2 points, ellipsis, but people don't usually factor giant craters into that equation.
Well, see, now here's where, too, like, if this was more in-depth, before I would make a decision...
What do you say? Head straight across button. Walk the perimeter button.
So those are my choices: walk the perimeter or go straight across. Now, if this was real, I would be like, okay, well, this is a big crater, but one thing that I really want to know is, okay, you got this crater. Well, how, I would immediately want to know how steep are the ledge or is the crater? Is it something that you think you could realistically climb back out of? Is it a pretty vertical slope? Is it, not too bad? Do you think you can crawl down easily? Is it slippery? Is it like jagged? A few things like that would kind of tell me, because if you're in a spacesuit, you don't want to rip it and then cut it, and then you don't have oxygen anymore. Actually, oxygen hasn't really come into this place. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, this is right. This is breathable. That's right. The atmosphere seems breathable. Okay, I remember now. So this is where I left off. Oh, what do I want to do? We lost some time doubling back. So we started the day. Let's
Head straight across button.
let's head straight across. Let's see what she says. Let's see if she likes this idea.
Head straight across. You got it. I'm gonna scout for the gentlest gradient.
Okay, good. She's gonna. Yep, smart. She's gonna the least gradient.
I'll get back to you momentarily.
Okay, I'll get back to you momentarily. So now the next one says,
Taylor is busy.
Taylor is busy. Now I have to stop playing. Now, and like I said, it depends on what the situation is. Sometimes you may only wait for a minute. Sometimes you may wait for like 5 minutes, and sometimes it may be the half hour, or a few hours, depending on realistically what the situation calls for. Like earlier this morning, she's like, "Oh, okay, I woke up today. Not too bad. I'm gonna have a little breakfast before I get going." So she, because she found some rations and stuff. So she just took a few minutes to eat breakfast and whatever. But yeah, so I like the kind of real time. I mean, like I said, it's a really simple game in theory, but I like the presentation of, yeah, it's just this kind of cool. It kind of feels like, especially on a phone like this, it kind of feels like you're actually talking to someone. It's like, oh, okay, I'm playing through this story throughout my day, and it's like, oh, hey, I got a text message from Taylor. Okay, let's see what's going on now. Just kind of a really unique presentation. I quite like it. Now on the bottom here, there is
Menu BTN button.
menu BTN. So, not perfectly labeled, but it's super easy to understand what it is. Let's see what the menu is. So now there's a few buttons here. There's like 5 buttons in the bottom middle here.
Watch settings button.
Watch settings. Now, if this is one of the few games where, and I could actually see this one working fairly well. This game does support Apple Watch, so you could use your notifications or glances. And I haven't tried even on the phone. You're supposed to be able to respond, read the little notifications and then respond without actually even going into the game. But I've just always just clicked on and gone back into the game.
Change language button.
So I can change language. I don't want to do that.
Turn music off button. Turn sound off button.
Now turn music or sound on and off. Now I have it muted just because if I unmute my phone, it should go through AirPlay.
Unmuted.
Yeah, there we go.
Rate the game button.
Rate the game. Okay. So, and I definitely will do that here pretty shortly, but so that, as you're reading, you kind of get this really ambient music. I guess I could have turned it on earlier, but I figured that, I didn't want the music to be too loud and drown out the actual talking. So as you're playing, you do get a little bit of audio there. I'm going to mute my phone again just so that, there we go, just so that works. So yeah, this is Lifeline. It is available in the App Store. It is accessible to VoiceOver, everything that I've played so far. I don't know if they're going to introduce any other mechanics or, how long the story is or how the story might branch. But I am genuinely intrigued. It's kind of a neat little, it's a neat little game, and it's not something that I have to. I kind of like it because I can just devote a couple minutes every now and again to it, see what's going on, get an update from Taylor, and continue the story. Hopefully not make too many horrible decisions. see what other things she actually asks me to maybe look up in real life or whatever. Like I said, that was kind of a cool little twist earlier. But yeah, I like this. It is available in the App Store. It is what is it, like $2? And I would say, yeah, this is definitely worth $2. You know, there's no ads, there's no microtransactions, there's nothing like that. It's just you open the game and you just play it. You know, you play it. You when you get the busy things, you just go away, get a notification, come back, and you're good. So yeah, I like it a lot. One thing I will say is that if I have the app running in the background, um, and then I come back and okay, I have notifications, so I went back into the app. I have had it happen where the app actually crashes me out to the home screen right away, and that might just be because I have voiceover on. That's something else that I can kind of report as, hey, this generally happens a fair amount. You just go into the app again and it starts over. I mean, it doesn't lose your progress, but it just it'll start you, like I said, at the top of the screen. So we're 250, 260, 250, 260 lines down. So there's a lot of scrolling to get to where you left off. So there are a couple things that I probably will eventually write to the developer about here pretty shortly after I play a little while and make sure there's nothing else major that I have to report. But yeah, it is voiceover accessible. I believe it's like $2 in the App Store now. Lifeline available for iOS. It is accessible and pretty fun, and I will actually check into the voice or the AppleViz directory to see if it is in fact there, and if it isn't, I will likely add it to their growing number of accessible games. So yeah, like and subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.